You are not small. You're not unworthy. You're not insignificant. The universe wove you from a constellation just so every atom, every fiber in you comes from a different star. Together, you're bound by stardust, spectacularly held together by the energy of the universe itself. And that, my darling, is the poetry of physics, the poetry of you. A very warm hello to everyone watching. Today, I, Surbhi, intend to take you on a journey of discovery of your self worth in the appreciation of life. Psychologically, the term self worth signifies a person's viewpoint of one's personal value. Too little self worth can lead a person to live a life devoid of the full potential. A grandiose sense of self worth, on the other hand, can be off putting to others and can strain personal relationships. Therefore, finding a balance right in the middle is considered an ideal. Remember, there'll always be someone who cannot see your worth. Don't let that person be you yourself. And the journey towards finding your self worth starts with self acceptance, self discovery, the self introspection. In 1957, a group of monks they were shifting a clay statue of Buddha from one temple to another location. Evidently, when the crane started lifting the statue, it was really heavy, and therefore it started to develop cracks in itself. And to make the matters worse, it started to rain. So the head monk decided to play down the statue back to the ground and cover it with a large canvas to avoid any damage. In the evening, he went back to check on the statue and he lighted a flashlight inside the canvas, and evidently, from the crack itself, the light gleamed back upon the monk. The monk thought in himself, is there anything under the clay that is making the light reflect back? So he bought a chisel and a hammer and he started chipping the clay off the statue. And after an hour of toiling, he stood in front of a tall gold statue of the Lord Buddha. The story went back to the Burmese attack in Thailand, where the monks covered the statue with clay to protect their treasure from being stolen. So my question is, have you discovered the gold Buddha within yourselves? Did you sense any hidden power when you were bound with a terribly unimportant incident in your life and that shook you to the core and you were able to discover one hidden power inside yourself? When we see people around ourselves, we see them remaining the chips, the cracks, the breaks in their armor just the same. The chips, the cracks, the breaks, and therefore they feel chipped, cracked, and broken their whole life. Because they live in a concrete shell numb to the life. We're all humans. People inevitably, they try to bring us down, they try to disappoint us. But understand this with an example. If you're out in a wilderness and a lion stalks you, you don't have the time to get disappointed. You get out of that situation, you run for your life. This is the same thing we have to apply with people who let us bring us down with their derogatory statements. We have to stand firm in the mirror and convince ourselves that we can face it. We can celebrate ourselves. We can be our own friends. I find myself too in a journey of discovery of my self worth. And I know one thing for sure that genuinely matters is that when we'll all be done with finding who's with us, who against us, we'll realize one thing for sure, that we only want things that bring peace to us. We'll realize that day that validation is just for parking, opinions are dime a dozen, and loyalty is not just a word, but it's a way of life. That day will change our life, because that day we'll realize that life is way too short to put the key of your happiness in someone else's hands. Learn to celebrate your own weaknesses, learn to celebrate your own strengths in the very same party itself. Build your ability, build your worth on the pedestals of confidence, on the pedestals of love, on the pedestals of all the humanity that the world needs today more than anything else. Whenever you doubt yourself, ask yourself, who taught you to unlove yourself so deeply that you actually thought it tasted good? The universe has woven you. The universe has brought life to you to bring something new to this world. And when you doubt that energy, when you doubt that how you were created, you doubt an energy greater than us both. I would like to sign off with a quote that Tamasha quoted perfectly, that तू जहान के वास्ते खुद को भूल कर खुद पर यूं जुल्म न कर. तू जहान के वास्ते खुद को भूल कर खुद पर यूं जुल्म न कर. खोल दे वो गिरह जो बांधे तुझ पे तू. खोल दे वो गिरह जो बांधे तुझ पे तू. Thank you. Cheers.